Alan Wake 2 was one of the most surprising hits of the last few years. The long-awaited sequel received a ton of accolades and awards, all of which were rightfully deserved. It has so many incredible moments throughout that still have fans talking about them to this day. But which of these memorable moments were the best? Well, in this video we're going to attempt to answer that question and discuss the 5 best moments from Alan Wake 2. Be aware that we will be diving into full spoilers, so if you haven't played Alan Wake 2, firstly, what are you waiting for? And secondly, go and play it, and then come back to this video. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting off our list, we have the Valhalla nursing home section. Alan Wake 2 has a lot of standout areas such as the creepy, abandoned coffee world and the tense but equally terrifying dark place. However, out of all of them, the most memorable area has to be when you go to the Valhalla nursing home. Following Alan Wake's capture by the FBI, secondary antagonist Saga Anderson decides to go and visit her ambiguous relatives Tor and Odin to find out more about the clicker. After fighting through a plethora of Taken, we reach the place they call home. Whilst there, you can admire the scenery, brush up on some lore, find Rose's weird Alan Wake shrine — seriously, Alan needs to file a restraining order against this woman — and meet a few of its residents that either T-pose or jump scare you.
Oh, come on.
Later on, you find out that one of the rock stars is missing. You track him down to the wellness center, and it's here where things get creepy. Dark hallways filled with a foreboding atmosphere, the creepiest looking enemies in the entire game, and an uneasy sense of dread. It gets even worse when you go back to the hotel and find it a dark, silent shell of its former self, before finishing it off with a scary and honestly quite sad boss fight against Cynthia Weaver. It's one hell of a ride that fires on all cylinders when it comes to Alan Wake 2's horror and story, and is without a doubt the best section in the game. At number 4, we have the Scratch reveal. There was a lot of mystery surrounding Alan Wake's return at the end of Chapter 2. His memory was a blur, he wasn't giving any straight answers, and he sounded like an unstable mess. Something didn't feel right. Fast forward a couple more hours, and Saga is ready to hand the clicker over to Wake to end the nightmare, when suddenly, the main villain Scratch arrives, brutally kills Yako, rips off a metal bar like it was made of paper, and chases after us like Resident Evil's Mr. X. A lot happens in those 45 seconds, and that's all Scratch needs to show us how much of a force he is to be reckoned with. Whilst I wouldn't say it was a mind-blowing twist, it is definitely obvious something was happening with Wake. It certainly leaves the player on the edge of their seat wondering how they could possibly fight this guy. Spoilers, you can't even tickle him. A good villain needs an amazing introduction to leave a lasting impression. A scene that shows off everything you need to know about their character and what they're about. And Scratch's reveal definitely does everything it needs to convince you that he is not to be messed with. Hard to believe that this is the same character that danced to Happy Song during American Nightmare. At number 3, we have the Alice Wake tapes. One of the things that fans wanted to see in the sequel was what happened to the characters from the first installment. One of these characters was Alice Wake, the wife of the titular character and the first game's MacGuffin. How has being trapped in the dark place affected her? What did she do after she crawled out of Cauldron Lake? Did she move on with her life? Well, during the Alan Wake segments, these questions are answered. During key points in Alan's story, you'll get to see these video diaries that Alice made about Wake, the dark place, and Scratch. They provide a really good insight into her mental state and how visions of Scratch are slowly tearing her mind apart piece by piece. But there's one in particular that sticks out as the most haunting. Part 3. This whole tape is expertly crafted horror. You start out with Alice, broken, her face looking tired and the colours around her appearing much darker than the first few tapes. She sounds hopeless, desperate for a way out from her nightmare. And it looks like she found it as the video explains she unfortunately unalived herself shortly afterwards. The tape ends with these spine-chilling final pictures of Alice, and they are so uncomfortable to look at. From the cold dead stare she gives the camera at the beginning, to how calmly she makes her way towards the cliff edge. In a game with murderous townsfolk, deadly rituals, and creepy monsters around every corner, this quiet slideshow of a person's final moments was without a doubt the most haunting part of the entire game. At number 2, we have the Dark Ocean summoning scene. Alan Wake 2's soundtrack is an overall delight to listen to, each song offering variety. Wide Awake is slow and emotional, whereas something like Lost at Sea is more upbeat and carefree. But by a mile, the best tracks are the rock songs. Performed by the Old Gods of Asgard, each of these songs pumps you up and makes you want to scream hell yeah at the top of your voice. And the song that did that the best was Dark Ocean Summoning. After the Scratch reveal takes everyone by surprise, Saga enlists the help of her closest allies to free Wake from the dark place. Once everything is ready, they head to the lake, where a phenomenally kick-ass song plays, whilst you take out some enemies. As far as gameplay goes, it's about as basic as a defense section as you can get. You have loads of ammo to use and NPCs helping you out occasionally, but the song more than makes up for this. This is the penultimate final stand before the ending. It's a fantastic culmination of all of the characters making one final effort to save their reality. It's a great scene and shows off just how important the music in Alan Wake 2 is. But it's not the best moment. No sir, that accolade goes to our #1 spot, the We Sing chapter. This single song, this single mission, was without a doubt the most memorable part of the whole game. The sheer craziness that is displayed here is nothing short of astounding, and will leave you grinning all the way through. Much like the Dark Ocean summoning section, it's really awesome mowing down enemies whilst a catchy rock song blares through your speakers. However, this has a leg up over Dark Ocean summoning for one reason: the visuals. If you didn't notice by now, this song has its own music video, featuring all of the actors and an elaborate dance routine that's easy to replicate. Remedy didn't have to include something so bombastic and no doubt expensive to make. I mean, Sam Lake had to fight hard to keep this in, as it was on the cutting room floor a number of times, and I'm glad he did, as it was one of the most memorable gaming moments in the last decade. Thank you, Sam Lake, for blessing us with your strange mind once again. And there we are. Those are our 5 best, most memorable moments from Alan Wake 2. Do you agree or disagree with our picks? What game should we cover next? Let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe to Smash Jump for more awesome videos.